Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Glowing Stitches. If you are new to this channel, please do well to subscribe. Turn on the notification bell to get notified whenever I post new videos. In today's video, we'll be learning how to make this beautiful dress, but instead of making use of this petal sleeve, we'll be making use of this puff sleeve. Now let's get started. Fold your fabric accordingly, like so, and start marking out your measurements. Now the measurement at this point is from the waistline downwards, that is to say your full length, that's the full length of your gown minus your half length, and then you mark it out at this point. Mark your hip point, mark the width of your hip, that is to say if your hip is 45, divide it by 4 and mark it plus your sewing in allowance. Same applies to the waistline. Whatever you have, divided by 4 plus 2.5, because we'll be including that at the waistline. Now to the down of the skirt or to the down of the gown, whatever you have at the waistline, that is to say if your waistline is 24, divided by 4, whatever you have, mark it down and add your sewing in allowance. After doing all that, cut out. Now fold another piece of fabric like so and place the front piece, which you just cut out, on this folded fabric, leaving at least 2.5 at the back side, like so. 2.5. The essence of this is for your zipper allowance and for the slits at the back of this dress. Now for the slits, from the down of this gown, mark upwards the length of the slit, 21 inches, and upwards divide the 2.5 inches and mark it like so. After doing that, you cut. Now let's skip to the main part of this tutorial, cause what we just did now seems like the basics. I'm sure we all know how to cut a basic pencil skirt or basic pencil gown, so let's move forward. So we'll be drafting out our measurements on our brown paper before transferring. Now rule out a line like so. Start by marking out your bust point, your under bust measurements, and your half length. Please note that measurements varies, and this tutorial would be in its simplest form as usual. Rule out the lines. After marking, move to the top and mark your shoulder point. Whatever you have on your shoulder, divided by 2. Mark your armhole like so. Rule out the line and connect them to each other. Now let's move to the width of our measurements. Your bust divided by 4 plus 4 inches. Your waist measurement divided by 4 plus 4 inches. Now connect those lines. Okay, so let's move to our round neck measurement. I'll be making use of 4 by 4 inches for the neck measurement. Mark out 4 by 4 and connect the curved lines together. Always remember your shoulder slope by ½ inch or 1 inch, but we'll be making use of ½ inch. Connect your curved armhole like so by going in with ½ inch. Please pay attention and watch this carefully. Now move down to your half length and mark 4½ inches like so. Mark it and stop at the bust point. Move to your armhole and mark at the middle point, 4.5. Yours could be 4 inches. Later on, we would be connecting the other 4.5 inches to the 4.5 inches at the armhole. Now let's mark out our chest line. We would be making use of 6 inches. Mark out the lines like so and rule. Let's label at this point so we don't get confused: your bust point, your half length, and your chest line. Okay, so from the 6 inches, mark downwards 8 inches like so. Please pay attention at this point so you don't get confused. Right now we have 6 inches ruled out and 8 inches ruled out. Take a look at our style carefully and you discover the opening on the chest line. So we are about to carve out that opening. Mark the middle point in between these two lines, which is 1 inch. Please pay attention, don't get confused. Now from the top of the chest line, that 6 inches, go up by half an inch like so and connect it towards the midpoint, that's 1 inch. Now repeat the same process for the downside. Connect it like so. Cross out the straight lines and leave the curved lines because we are now going to be working with the curved lines. These curved lines. Moving on, instead of connecting the earlier marked 4.5 inches to the armhole, we are going to be doing something different. Please take note. Now mark 4 inches from this point like so and connect it towards the 4.5 inches like so. And from the range of the chest line, mark another 4 inches and connect the line like so. Connect it towards the bust point. The bust point is 4.5. The other lines we marked are 4 inches. Now cancel the earlier marked out 4.5 inches. When you cancel, you would have something like this. Okay, now from the 4 inches, mark out 1.5 inches and connect it upwards towards the bust point, 1.5 inches. Repeat the same thing for the upper part, the chest line area. Mark 1.5 inches and connect it like so towards the bust point and you'd have this effect. Cancel the middle point because we'll be taking that out. That part is not needed, so take that out. I'm sure we know the essence of the 4 inches allowance we added at the side of this measurement. The essence is this 1.5 inches we are taking out at the dart area is now replaced in the 4 inches plus your normal sewing in allowance, which sums up to 4 inches. Please don't get confused. And at the shoulder point, add extra 1.5 inches, although we are still going to be taking that out, but add it to be on the safe side. After cutting, you would have this. So let's go back to the opening in front. Cut out the curved lines like so. Cut out the other part like so. Please watch carefully to see where the cutting stops and where the lines stops also. You'd have this. Now the neckline, cut round your neckline like so. Cut out your shoulder slope, extend that line before cutting and cut it out like so. This is it at this point. Now let's cut out the 1.5 inches we marked out for the darts, for the bustier area. Cut accordingly and cut carefully so you don't make mistake or get confused. Remember, we said we are taking off that 1.5 inches to give us a good bustier shape or to give us a good dart shape. So this is it, and this is the alignment after cutting this part of our dress. Hope we all understand. After doing all this, transfer your curtains to your fabric and remember that your paper is on fold. This is it after cutting the middle point. Indicates the good and the bad side of your fabric and notch the middle point to know the top from the down side when sewing. And this is your neckline area after transferring to your sample lace or any type of lace you choose to use. Cut out your breast pad, or you might choose to use a breast cup. Now keep that aside and let's cut the back. Before any other thing, mark your zipper allowance 1/1/4 or 1.5. Mark your half length. I'm using 19 inches. Mark your armhole 8 or 9. Connect these lines as usual and rule. Move to the width of the neck 4 inches and your shoulder slope should come down by half an inch. Now mark your bust point and every other normal basic bodice, including the darts, and you cut. Okay, let me briefly explain. Your neckline 4 by 2.5 inches because we don't want it to be too deep. Initially I used 3 but I cancelled to 2.5 inches. And from the shoulder, mark down 7 inches. This is approximately the chest line and that is where the net at the back is going to stop. You know there is a net at the back, I mean there is a lace at the back. Mark your dart 4.5 inches and connect to the armhole 4.5 inches. Mark your normal bust measurement and add your sewing in allowance. Same applies to the waistline. Add your sewing in allowance. Remember that your measurement is divided by 4. If your bust is 35 divided by 4, whatever you have, plus your side seam allowance and extra half inch for joining the darts. So this is it after cutting and transferring to your fabric. Now to the sleeve. You know there is a basic pencil sleeve and a petal sleeve, and I said earlier that we would not be using the petal sleeve but a puff sleeve. But in case you want a tutorial on how to make a petal sleeve, check my bio for the link on how to cut a petal sleeve. And if you want a tutorial on how to draft out a basic pencil sleeve, please indicate and make a comment in the comment section. Okay, so for my pencil sleeve, I wanted to have this effect at the end of the day, but we are not going to focus on that right now. If you want a tutorial on that, please indicate in the comment section. So let's fold another piece of fabric to draft out our puff sleeve. Fold accordingly. For the length, I'll be using about 14 inches, 13 or 14 inches, depending on how you want yours to be like. Mark 9 inches like so and curve from the top towards that 9 inches, connecting the lines together. Now from the side, mark 11 inches and add 6 inches extra. Moving on from that initial 11 inches, mark 4 inches like so and connect the 4 inches upwards towards the initial 6 inches. From this point, mark 1.5 inches upwards and connect a curved line towards the edge of the 4 inches like so and cut. If you have a curved measurement ruler, you could use that for your curved lines to make it easier for you. You are cutting 2 pieces of this and remember that your fabric is on fold, not the middle point as usual. Also, you would be needing your hard gum stay to make your sleeves stand firm. So this is it after ironing my gum stay and lining the puff sleeve. This is what it looks like. This is what the back looks like at this point. And to the part we have all been waiting for. After joining your bustier like this, although I've not added a breast pad to it because I would be attaching a cup, an already made cup, to the bustier, so feel free to use any method you want. Iron your hairstay to the fabric and notch the middle point before attaching your lace to this piece. Like I said, I'll be attaching a cup to the bustier. If you want a video on how to attach a cup to your bustier, please comment in the comment section. Aside that, you can use your normal breast pad on this bustier. Now notch the middle point of your lining and attach it like so, using the sandwich method. So this is it after attaching your lining. Don't forget to top stitch and don't forget to turn the mouth of your lace using a bias. Use it for that opening and use it for your neckline. And to that point where we would attach our velvet bias to give us that beautiful effect in front. Start by folding into 2 equal parts and notch the middle point like so. Notch the middle point. Take out your bias and lay on your fabric like so. Lay in such a way that it reaches the lace at the upper part of this top. Take another piece of bias and place in form of a Y shape like so, putting it under the first bias you laid. This is what I mean, and you'll be needing 2 pieces of the extension of the Y shape like so. Please make sure it looks equal on both sides and cross-check your measurements while doing this. Now take that off and use your hemming gum to place it on your fabric before taking to your machine. This makes it easier while sewing. Make sure the hemming gum doesn't reach the extreme and iron smoothly. This is what it looks like after ironing and attaching your bra cup. If you want a video on this, indicate in the comment section. Let's head to our machine to top stitch the lining on the fabric like so. Open up and sew on the middle point. Please watch carefully. Let's go back to our bias. Sew carefully like so. Please note that you are not sewing on the lining. Make sure to open up before sewing on this area. Open up the fabric and the lining before sewing at this area. Sew on both sides upwards, and while sewing, connect the Y shape. Remember that you are placing the Y shape under the straight bias. Please watch carefully and you would understand. While sewing, remember that you are working with the middle point. Everything you are doing at this point should be equal on all sides, on both sides. So if you are using 2 inches here, the other side should be 2 inches as well. Place carefully before sewing. If possible, pin them down before sewing. Turn that over and fix in the second Y shape. Bear in mind that your sewing stops where your fabric stops. Do not extend it into the lining area. After sewing straight down, you would have this effect. Now let's attach it to the lace part. Start by folding the lace into 2 equal parts and marking the middle point. Mark the middle point. Let it align with the middle point on the fabric. Place the straight bias on the middle point, under the lace, not above the lace. Place it like so and pin it down. Now repeat the same process for the Y-shape wings. Make sure that whatever measurement you use on the left is what you use on the right to make it equal and centralized. After pinning down, sew a double stitch on this point to make it stay firm. And while doing this, still bear your measurements in mind. Check if your bust points still align. This is it after the second stitch and after removing the pins. Okay, so let's now attach our lining. Let's sew the lining to the fabric on both sides. After doing that, get a bias to turn the neck of your lace. To turn the neck. This is what it looks like after turning the neck. Also, turn the back neck to make your work look neat. Give it a good press and join the down part, that's the lining and the fabric, together. Notch the middle point and join to the skirt part of your gown. Make sure the darts align with each other. After doing that, repeat the same process for the back piece and attach your zip to it. Please ensure yours is neat. You can see how my own is looking very neat and fine. Now join the front and the back piece together, starting from the shoulders, using your desired measurements and recutting the armhole. Join your sleeve by 1 inch and turn it over. Notch the middle point and move on to joining it to the other part of the dress, starting from the middle point like so. Now you are going to do this gradually and pleating the sleeve on the shoulder area, around the shoulder area. Your pleating should be by 1/2 inch, and note that you are joining this sleeve before joining the lace sleeve. The lace pencil sleeve. So this particular sleeve would be on top of the lace sleeve as a crown. I hope you understand what I mean. This is what it looks like after fixing one side of the sleeve, and at this point I was trying to turn it over to be able to continue sewing on the other side. Now this is what it looks like after joining all sides. Get your lace sleeve, that's the pencil sleeve, and put it under it like so, and join like every other normal sleeve. Sew like every other normal sleeve. It's that simple. Just notch your middle points at all times and then you are good to go. After joining, our beautiful sleeve is ready. You can see how puffy the other sleeve is and sitting perfectly well on the pencil lace sleeve. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've learned a thing or two from this tutorial. Please feel free to ask questions, like, share and subscribe. I didn't want my neck area to be too open, so I made it moderate. See you in my next video.